Hello. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the various functionalities, models, and features of Aroti HR and Payroll Management software. Okay, so here is the main Aroti application system. But before we move on to the main application system, let's take a look at few functionalities in the Aroti configuration. So when Aroti is installed, it comes to two icons. That is the main Aroti program and then an Aroti configuration system. Okay. In Aroti, in terms of privileges and user roles, we can look at the various in terms of securities that are in the system. So let's say when we take a model, you can see we have option to set what these users or this user role should be able to access and all that. Okay, and then just for users to be able to get a glimpse of all that, this is a sample user role list in Excel over here. So what in Aroti happens is that for each role or each model specifically, you can set which user should be able to do that and that. Okay, that is for the privileges part. Now, moving from that privileges in Aroti to some of the useful functions is that we support integrations with various third-party systems. Okay, so this kind of integration we are supporting include integration with financial accounting systems. Okay, and then we also support integration with electronic banking interface. Okay, so we've done interfaces with these banks before, and then we support mobile money also, and then in terms of online job portal, if you want to fetch in recruitment or job applications from your website directly into Aroti HR system, that also we can do that kind of integration. And then there are other notifications that we support. Okay, so the system can automatically send notification for appointment date, birth date, okay, appointment date, birth date, confirmation date, end of contract date, leaving date, etc. Okay, we also support notification in terms of payroll notifications also to various users, and loans and advance as well as leave. Okay, and then training needs analysis, etc. Okay, so these are various settings in the Aroti configurations. And then last but not the least, we support integration with time and attendance devices. Okay, and then we have interface readily available for all these devices. Okay, so this is the main Aroti application. This is the dashboard. It offers a very nice and simple to use UI. And then this is employee date, so users will be able to easily click here and just get a glance of people whose birthday are due, people who are on suspension probably today, people who are going on retirement within 6 months from now, and those whose contracts are ending within probably 3 months or 6 months from now. So this is like a dashboard that users will be able to just get just a glance at a second. Okay, so let's take a look at the models in Aroti. In Aroti, we have what we call employee biodata, and this is the screen that lists or takes care of all employees in the system. So employee to add, for users to add a new employee, they just need to click this new button. But let's take a look at if one employee, users just fills all these particulars for this employee, and then for details they can set different reminders or trigger workflows like reminder in terms of birthday notification, as I already mentioned, probation. So we have notification over email and then general reminders. So these are just reminders that can be set by the users for end of contract and retirement, etc., and set when this should occur and then stop occurring, etc. All this can be set. When should it stop occurring, and then to which users should this notification be prompted to accordingly. Okay, so these are employee personal details that can be filled by the users. And moving from this part, Aroti also give a 360-degree view of every employee. So at a glance, users are able to check what is the details, the shift and different dates for this employee, address, etc. Okay, so in terms of biodata, other information that can also be tracked include things like the person's qualifications, experiences, etc. All of that can be tracked. Okay, so this is a sample over here. Okay, and then we can also track report for every activity. Okay, so let's look at for under employee report. There are so many types of employee report. We can take, for instance, employee qualification report, which all the report can be exported to PDF, Excel, or Word. Okay, and then this is the data for that particular report. And analysis on any report can be done in terms of department wise. Okay, or there we also support an advanced filter, like one want to check people in maybe marketing but who are probably say people who are females, and then set this filter or condition and then report accordingly. Okay, so other useful reports also include employee age analysis, where we can set the age gap, like let's say 10, and then go through the data also from here. Okay, and access the report from here. So this is a sample age analysis report. And then there's also employee listing report, which is a huge report. This report can be sent straight away to Excel, and then you can get a glimpse of that also accordingly from here, showing the whole data for all employees also. Okay, so moving from employee report, there are so many reports as already mentioned. We can look at another model like payroll, and then in payroll, the critical thing is that the system, Ariti payroll system, is highly customizable and then easy to use. And then in Ariti payroll, we support various functions in terms of earnings and deduction that should be computed. So transaction heads list all the earnings and deductions, and then the earnings and deductions calculation can be based on formula like this one, or flat rate. Flat rate, we can specify whether it's supposed to be recurring or non-recurring. So in terms of computation, we can look at, say, a taxable income, which is informational. This is the formula set. So in Ariti, we support different parameters. Okay, we support different parameters. We can support overtime calculation. We support if conditions, so we can set various parameters, okay, accordingly. Okay, we support so many conditions, as you can see from here, and then total payable days, etc. Whatever be the instance in Ariti payroll systems, once we understand the nature of the computations in terms of earnings and deductions that need to be calculated, we can set that accordingly. Okay, so this is where all earnings and deductions are defined, and thereafter they are assigned to the employees that are required to be assigned those, or those that are entitled to those. So this is the side that we process payroll, which is pretty straightforward and easy to use. During end of month payroll, depends on the requirement, all this flat rate can be manually inserted by the users themselves, okay, or it can be updated from Excel. They can kind of save this, and then it can be updated from Excel accordingly. Okay, so once this part is done, the next thing is to click on process payroll, and then process the payroll for all employees. Okay, and then the payroll can be run also in multiple currencies also, as Ariti supports multiple currency. Once payroll is run, we can check a pay slip also, and then we can do things like authorization of payment in the system, etc. Okay, so let's take a look at a sample pay slip. Okay, so this is a sample pay slip from Ariti system. And all pay slip, as mentioned, can be emailed and checked also in self-service, and all our report can be checked in PDF or Excel or Word. So let's take a look at a report in PDF. So this is a sample pay slip which has been exported to PDF with all the details over here. And in Ariti pay slip or transaction heads, we can say what to show and not to show on pay slip accordingly. Okay. Now moving from pay slip also, we can check various reports like a general payroll report from this side in Ariti. So this is a general payroll report. that we have exported. That will show all the totals over here. Okay, so this is showing all the totals. We also have other statutory reports like a pension fund report. Okay, which can be analyzed in terms of departmental wise. So this is showing employees, their code, etc., as well as whatever they have to contribute, okay, in terms of employee deductions and then company contribution for that employee. Okay, tax report, we can check tax report for various periods accordingly. So let's say if we take a tax report, this is a general tax report. Okay, this is an income tax report that is showing the tax amount that is payable over a period of time. This is the format for Ghana. Okay, this is Ghana income tax report, which we can customize the same for various countries. So you can see the whole data is here in terms of social security, basic, third tier, etc. And then based on the data that has been set to system, so this is the total payable to GRA accordingly. Okay, so once payroll is processed and payment is done in RT system, other useful report that can be checked include bank advice. Okay, so this is a sample bank advice that is showing here. Okay, let me take the correct filters. Okay, so we need to check the mode, whether draft or authorize. Okay, so here we go. We have some data over here showing a sample bank advice, which can be emailed or exported to PDF and emailed to various banks. We have option to indicate what to show and not what to show, and there are various template types to choose from. Okay, moving from bank payment advice to, we can check a report like bank summary or payroll summary also. Okay, that is showing in terms of the totals over here accordingly. And the same way to people who are paid on cash can be checked from this side accordingly. If anybody is paid on cash, then the data should show over here. We don't have anyone paid in cash. I think it's paid, just has to, we need to check in terms of authorized mode. So these are the payment done that has been authorized. So employee can collect their cash and then sign off over here. There are tons of payroll reports, as you can see from here, but we can take a look at one more in terms of a JV that accountant can take. Okay, so this is a main measure. Okay, we can have this in different format based on the requirement, and various account numbers will be associated. Remember, RT support integration with financial accounting systems also for posting of general ledger into the accounting system also. Moving from payroll, we can also talk about leave management. In RT, we support different leave types that can be defined, and then users will be able to also define various leave approvers. So the concept is that once an employee applies for leave, an email gets sent automatically to his first approver. If there is any second approver, let's say first approver is general manager, then in this case, let's say general manager is first, HR is first approver, or HOD is first approver, then HR is supposed to be second approver, then these emails will trigger automatically. And then once HOD approves, only then will the second approver will be able to approve, and then the communication is reverted back to the employee that the leave is approved or rejected. Okay, so we can assign various leave accrue in the system to employees from this side, and then employees will be able to apply for leave. Usually it's good to apply from self-service, which we shall look at that part. Okay, but this can be a sample leave report that can be checked also once leave has been approved accordingly. Let's say end of year to be able to see what is the various leave. So you can see from here, this is the joining date of employee, this is the leave balance before, this is the total year accrued to date, and then there's this, the whatever is issued. So this employee has 3 leave taking, is left with 5. This has taken 5, is left with 16. Okay, so there are various leaves report that can be checked, okay, in the system, and this is a typical leave form also for an employee that can also be checked. Okay, so if we take this employee, for instance, you can see he has taken his leave balance is still 21 over here. Probably this leave is not issued. From here, the status is showing this leave was rejected. Okay, if we are to take another employee with, let's say, this, you will be able to see this employee has 16. He was having 21, and then 5 has been issued, so left with 16. Okay, so in terms of the leave computations, works fine for casual, maternity, annual leave, whatever leave type exists in the organization. Okay, we can look at other things like in Aruti time and attendance model. We support different device integration, which already I mentioned in the configuration part. In terms of this section, users will be able to log in direct. Okay, in terms of there's any device, they will be able to log in directly from there. And then there's option for timesheet as well, which users will be able to. This is like manual inputting of the data, okay, in Aruti. Okay, but Aruti support importation of data from these devices. Okay, and then data can be exported, imported from Excel also. And then we have option for import device attendance, where based on the data that has been integrated with Aruti, we will be able to fill the data accordingly from the device. Okay, based on whatever is the serial number and device that has been set, employee, the date and the shift and the time in and out, or will come in Aruti. Based on the data that is coming in Aruti, we can further link this to payroll transactions, so that we can set a formula based on the device information accordingly that is coming in Aruti. Okay, so as I already mentioned, we support different formulas, so that can be done in terms of setting overtime or hours worked. If you want to consider the total hours worked over a period of time, then that function also is there in Aruti to be considered accordingly. Okay, so once these setups are done, the basic thing is that the system will be able to provide users with information on time and attendance over here. Let's take, like, let's say one employee. If we should take this employee, for instance, who have clocked in or use any time and attendance device, let's say this employee over here, you can see this time to this time, this employee was on break and then he worked 8 hours, but this same employee came 8 a.m. and then worked up to 7 p.m. So he had a break of 1 hour. So this system is showing 1 hour 30 minutes as an extra time that he had worked. Okay, so basically the system will show in terms of the total absent days also, which is very informative for management, because from here we are able to see this date and this date he was absent in terms of the AB. Okay, then WK is indicating he worked, etc. So once this data is there, management will be able to even check report in terms of people who are absent, all that in the system. Okay, and then there's option for daily attendance checking also from the system, and then we can look at employee schedule report. So this report makes it possible to check what was the shift. Let's say you want to check a whole schedule for a whole month, okay, for employees. So this is showing all employees on day shift for a certain period of time, that is for a whole month. Okay, it's showing all the data that is required in there. So moving from time and attendance, let's shift to employee self-service. Okay, this is the self-service aspect of Aruti. It is 2-in-1 in terms of it provides, we have employee self-service and manager self-service. So employee can log in with this will be based on the policy of the company. Okay, and then input the company code and log in, where company code can be set not to show also in this system. Okay, so here we go. Once employee logs in, employee will be able to do things like if they want to change their own password, they can change their own password, etc. The basic things they can do is to update their profile information, like they can come to probably personal, and then for instance, if they want to update their profile, like set what is their region, or probably if they think the city defined is not correct, etc., or if they want to indicate their languages or update whatever information they want to do, they can update it accordingly. They can also view their assessors or supervisors or reviewers accordingly, okay, in the system. They can do things like check their leave balance, okay. So this employee, for instance, has been issued 3 days, but for every year he's entitled to 21 days. So this is the leave balance. They can do things like apply for leave from this system directly by clicking new and then selecting the leave type that they want to apply, okay, and specifying the application date. By default will take the system date. They will have to set the start date and end date and save. Once this is done, an email will be sent to their direct supervisor, or in this case their first level leave approver, and then they can also view their leave approval status directly from here. And if the approver has already approved the leave, they will get email, and then they can plan their leave and view their leave planned, okay, from here, okay. This same thing also exists in Arity desktop over here, whereby managers will be able to check the leave plan, check planned leave for employees. Let's say if we take a whole month of January, they will be able to access this useful information at a glance from here, okay. So moving to self-service, employees will be able to also check the goals that have been assigned to them for any period of time. Let's say for the first quarter for this particular employee, the total weight assigned to him is 60. The concept in Arity is that once KPIs or goals have been assigned or targets have been assigned to any employee task is to use this option to be updating the goal progress over time. Once employee has finished updating the goal accomplished in terms of putting the percentage accomplished over time, they will have to submit this and then to supervisor or the assessor, and then assessor will also get an email which they will log in from their and be able to go to their manager self-service and then approve or reject the goal based on the progress remark done by employee. So once this process is done in terms of assessor approving or rejecting the goal, employee will be able to do his self-assessment, okay, at the end of the goal accomplishment, or at the end of goal accomplishment. Employee will be able to do self-assessment. For instance, let's pick a data for any of the past data for this, say, employee. So if we take this is an assessment already done. Assessment that is already done, so it's not possible to edit it, but we can view his performance assessment, okay, for let's say the first quarter like this. So you can see these are the KPIs, start date, end date. Start date, end date is not compulsory. Percentage accomplished, which employee will be updating his goal over time and setting the status, all will be here. Now employee will score himself over here, and then his remark will be here also accordingly, okay. And then the next step is for employees to also score themselves for each particular competences that have been assigned to them, okay, over a period of time. And then once they complete the assessment part of themselves, they will save and then submit this. Only then will the assessors be able to do that is assessor access, okay, from manager self-service. Also in self-service, employee can check any loan that they have applied for at any period of time, okay, like this. They will be able to check, and also they will be able to make claims and requests for any expenses they've done, and also view any disciplinary charge leveled against them from our disciplinary model. They can check other reports like let's say a salary slip Okay, they can preview salary slips and check in our system direct. Okay, so here we go with a sample salary that employee can check themselves, okay, from this side. Okay, so let's log in as MSS user, manager self-service user. In manager self-service, supervisors are able to access employee from this side. Okay, so let's say they want to do assessment. Let's look at assessment for, let's say, first quarter in this case. This employee has done his self-assessment of himself, but then assessor and reviewer have not done their part. So the assessors can choose assess employee in this way and then start putting their assessment rating for this employee. So for instance, they can choose here 4, and then once they choose, system will compute the assessor score. Let's say they choose 1, system will indicate the assessor score also for this case. Okay, and then there's always a score guide to guide them, okay, in terms of the rating that will be defined from ROT performance model, okay, from this from the setup of ROT performance aspect. And then supervisors can put their comment, whatever comment they want to put from this side, and save and submit. Okay, so talking about performance and the setups that is required, ROT performance model is very customizable. This is the performance management where various setups can be performed, like setting up the assessment periods. The various assessors in various departments can be set up, and then the assessment ratios in terms of how much percentage should we allocate to KPIs or KPA or target, and then competencies too can be set accordingly. The same too, we can define different scale or ratings in terms of setup, and this setup goes on and on. That analysis can be done based on various perspectives also, and then various computations can be set in terms of the formulas for rating employees can be set, okay, in ROT. Once the setup or planning part of performance is done, that is when employees begin to update their goals from self-service, and then supervisors are also, or assessors are able to also assess them. And then the final stage is appraisal, where appraisal can be based on, we have appraisal set up like setting a score from this to this. This is the overall appraisal action, or the balance scorecard action. And then we have option to do appraisal analysis, whereby we can select a period, and then based on a score, let's say overall score, this is a filter option, and then we can say we want people who scored from 4.5, okay. We want a score greater or less than 4.5, or let's say a score that is greater or less than 3.5, okay. So based on this, once we click add and then we choose apply filter, system will shortlist all the candidates who have met this criteria accordingly, okay, with their overall score accordingly, okay. And then we can export, we can save and export. Remark is compulsory. Let's say met criteria, and then we can save and export this data into Excel, okay, and then see which people have met the various criteria. So here is the data. You can see these are the employees who met that particular criteria. Okay, moving from, and then we can conduct appraisals from here in terms of what action to give to people who have met a specific criteria, okay, and then reward them accordingly, okay, in terms of what action do we want to apply to them. There are other few useful reports under assessment, okay. Let's look at an assessment for any employee, like this employee, his assessment report. So this is a sample assessment report that we can take this to PDF or Excel or Word, okay. So if we take a look at this, you can see that this is the competence assigned to this employee, and then these are the scores of employee along with his assessor, and this was his competence performance rating. And then we can also check for goals. So for each goal or KP assigned to this employee, this is percentage accomplished, this was his employee goal, this is the assessor's total score also. And then these are just free flow information, or what we call in Arity custom items. Moving from that side, you can see that this is a summary of the evaluation process and the ratings, like overall score rating for competence and the overall goal performance rating. This is the for goals or KPIs, and this is the overall performance. So in Arity, we support a 360-degree aspect for assessment. Okay, in terms of, it can be, we have functionality to support in our configuration to support balance scorecard, or also competence also. And then we have this option like strict goal, cascading, loose cascading, non-cascading, etc. All these parameters are there. The other report that we can check for assessment is assessment score, which can be checked based on departmental wise, or as per the requirement of the client in terms of for each employee. That too is possible. Okay, so it's compulsory to select the period to check this particular report. So you can see for each department, we can sort by department too from the system. This is the appointment date of employee, this was his score, this is a self-assessment of himself, this is his assessment